Welcome to the Empowered by God podcast for Christian women rebuilding their lives with God in seasons of loss, waiting, and transition. I'm your host, Yasmin Rosales and now Perez, and I'll share a little more about that on this episode. But first, I want to talk about why God makes us wait and what He's actually doing in the silence. I used to think that waiting was delay and that there was something wrong with me because I couldn't advance. Like I missed God, or I misunderstood Him, or I was being delayed for some reason and I couldn't see why. Maybe I couldn't hear Him properly. But I learned something in this season of waiting. Waiting is not punishment because we don't serve a God who punishes us. It's not rejection and it's not inactivity. It's actually a season of formation and the Lord will use to transform you. But I didn't understand that until I reached a point where I was honestly so tired and I didn't know how to keep going anymore. It had been a long time since I recorded an episode, and a lot has changed in that silence, not just in my circumstances, but in me. And I can see now that God was shaping something in me that I didn't fully understand while I was in it. So during that period of waiting, I had been working a job that I knew I've outgrown, and I kept telling myself that this is just for a season, that this too shall pass. But deep down, I knew I was meant for something more, something deeper, something greater than what I was actually living every day. And that tension between what I believed God placed in me and what I was experiencing started to weigh heavily on me. And at the same time, I was trying to build something that I believe God had called me to, which was coaching. I invested thousands of dollars into coaching programs, trying to get clarity from other coaches, trying to make it work, trying to figure out direction. But nothing was really clicking the way that I expected it to. And instead of things opening up for me, everything felt like it was closing, shutting down. And I was praying. I was fasting. I was trying to stay faithful. But I was tired. I wasn't just tired physically. I was also tired spiritually. Like I was carrying the load on my own. I was carrying something alone that I didn't have the strength for anymore. And I started to get discouraged. And there were moments where I wanted to quit, where I questioned everything, my faith, my walk. Like, is my prayer ever going to be answered? Am I hearing God wrong? Am I even called to this? Why is nothing working for me? I felt that deeply. So I started to pull back. I stopped creating content. I put what God had placed in my hands on the back burner, not because I didn't care, but because I didn't feel secure in where God was taking me, and I felt discouraged. I felt unclear. I felt drained. I felt stuck. Like I know that a lot of you may feel. Maybe you're in that season right now. But that's where the waiting really became real for me, because waiting is not passive. Waiting exposes you. It reveals the unhealed areas. It reveals what you depend on when nothing is working and nothing is moving. And in that season, I had no choice but to rely on God. And I started realizing something very important. I wasn't just waiting on things around me to change. I was being changed in the process. I was being transformed. I was shedding away old ways, old patterns, old desires. I was dying to myself. And in the middle of that season, something unexpected happened. God answered a prayer that I've been carrying for a long time. He brought an amazing companion into my life. And within less than 90 days, we were married. And I can honestly say that life has changed in a way that I'm still adjusting to, in a good way. It has been such a blessing to live an answered prayer. And I know that there's many women out there who have a desire for marriage, that are waiting for the Lord to answer that prayer. I've come to understand this. I'm most in my calling when I'm encouraging the woman who is just a few steps behind me, the woman who is in the same waiting season that I had to go through, the woman who feels stuck, unsure, or forgotten. Because I've learned that just because God answered one prayer, it doesn't mean that the process stops. It just means that the seasons change. And the woman you become, you change with it. every season requires a deeper version of yourself. It requires a more surrendered version of you, a more refined version of you, and it's scary. Change is inevitable, but it's also scary. And I can see now that God didn't just answer my prayers, He was shaping me into someone who can carry what I was praying for. And now I find myself in a place of alignment. I find myself in a place of clarity, a place of peace, a place where I can finally hear again. I can see again. I can create again without any confusion. And I know now that this is not just for me. This is for the women who are still in the waiting season. I want to use my voice to help you. I want to use my voice to remind you not to give up in your waiting season, not to compromise, not to abandon what God placed in your heart just because it feels slow or unclear or like it's never going to happen. That is a lie from the enemy because God can be trusted. I want to walk with you through your grief, through your transition, through your identity shifts, and help you rebuild with God and know who you are in Christ, because I know what it feels like to be in that place and to not have support, to feel alone. And I also know what God does in that place. So if you're listening to this and you're in a season of waiting right now, hear me clearly. Your season of waiting is not wasted. It's your season of preparation, so embrace it. You're not behind. God has not forgotten about you. You're not overlooked, but you're probably being hidden. You're being prepared for what you've been praying for. So keep trusting God, keep showing up, keep believing. Even when you don't understand it yet, trust me, it's going to make sense because your breakthrough is on the way. And when it comes, girl, you'll understand why God had to make you wait and form you first. So I'll see you in the next episode.